I felt like stopping to look at a painter's works. All his paintings are exactly the same. But when you look close, real close, you can see that they're different. Each slightly different from the other. A different car here, a different man daydreaming on the bus there, a stray dog gallantly crossing the street, whatever catches the painter's fancy on that day. And in one of them, I saw myself. At least I think it's me.
When Ritesh Batra sought out to make a documentary on the storied business of the Dabbawalas, the legendary tiffin service operating throughout Mumbai, he followed many of the deliverymen on their routine. But traveling with them changed something in him. His desire to follow the business as the documentary shifted towards different personal stories they would hear while waiting to collect tiffins from homes. This led to an idea in Ritesh's mind that would go on to become 2013's The Lunchbox. It's a poignant tale of two people who have never met each other but form a bond on the back of an unlikely error made by the tiffin service. The original idea of a documentary does seem to have an influence over the film, as there's something very intimate about the setting here. The camera shots are always grounded and linger close to the characters. We don't cut away from mundane tasks, we sit through them like it is we who are performing them. There are no aerial shots of this world, a world that does not revolve around the characters but instead follows along the tiffin service's line of operation, the line that connects Ela and Sajan. What happens along this line is echoed in the lives of these two people. The song children sing in the train that Sajan travels in plays on a tape in Ela's building. The news that a rickshaw driver shares with Sajan in a different part of the world leaves Ela distraught as she writes to Sajan about it.
ऊंची बिल्डिंगों से कूदने को भी तो हिम्मत चाहिए ना.
It's a loose thread that connects two souls, far apart in where their lives have led them, but still in a small world full of coincidences. It is not as much destiny that leads the story. Bombay as a city famously treats its services like the local train and the Dabbawalas as a lifeline, something that is essential for the city's operation. So for the film, it's only natural that two people craving for attention in their own unique ways passively encounter each other along the thread of this lifeline. Sajan is working the last month of a 35-year-old career as a government official, having lived a mundane routine almost throughout. He is a staunch man who gets irritated when confronted by his boss, co-workers, and children alike. While Sajan is more veiled in his desire to connect, Ela, on the other hand, is on a more active pursuit of it. Each morning she nervously cooks lunch for her husband and waits patiently for the lunchbox to return in order to seek his attention. Each day failing, each day trying again. It's a story of how these two parallels meet. Ela and Sajan change nothing in their routine in order to communicate. Sajan works until it's lunchtime and Ela completes her household chores. While there is no change happening, they both invite each other into their respective routines. Sajan waits to read Ela's letters while eating her food, and Ela enjoys his responses over a late afternoon cup of tea. They understand each other's ordeals through their own perspectives and give each other unsolicited advices like suggesting Ela to have another child to improve her married life and counseling Sajan on cutting down on cigarettes. But more importantly, they listen to each other. It mirrors our own daily life and how a good conversation can transcend all other events in a day and linger with us through the night. It is how these conversations give us expositions about these two people and others that surround them.
तुम बोले तुम तो अनाथ हो.
हाँ मतलब बना, लेकिन मेरी अम्मी हमेशा कहती हैं ये बोलने में वजन आता है, सर अच्छा लगता है मतलब.
Expositions are plot devices that are used in storytelling to give out important pieces of information to characters that give context to the history and lays a path for the plot. The expositions in Lunchbox are different in that they are not used to drive the plot forward. They tell us about the character's history, but in a way that hurts the viewers.
मेरा बेटा अगर जिंदा होता तो मुझे किसी से पैसे नहीं लेने पड़ते.
They simply don't give just information, but tell us the kinds of struggle they have been through in life that have led them to where they are
मेरा नाम असलम शेख है सर, मैं अनाथ हूँ.
and the kinds of people that they are.
सब लोग बोलते हैं कि आपसे तो कोई उम्मीद न रखो.
The four characters that we see the most throughout the film are very different from each other and are in different stages of life. Deshpande auntie is an old neighbor of Ela who divides time between caring for her ailing husband and giving recipes to Ela. Sheikh is just starting out in life, freshly married and only just beginning in his career. Sajan already having lived out his career and just about to fade away. And Ela, in a relatively new marriage, desperately trying to hold on to love. All of them have one thing in common, however, and that is a longing for affection. Be it Sheikh who just wants to be noticed by Sajan, or Sajan who in turn deeply misses togetherness. Once he gets a taste of it, he starts finding happiness in the details. Although we never really see Deshpande auntie, we can almost sense the loneliness she lives with. Talking about recipes with Ela and her relationship troubles is a desperate escape for her from her own mundane and tragic reality.
तू हंस रही है क्या?
हाँ आंटी, वो जोक याद आ गया था।
मुझे पता नहीं जो।
Ela's search for an escape is more literal. After realizing she's at a dead end in her married life, she fantasizes about taking her daughter and running away to Bhutan, where gross national happiness guides the country and its people. Her fantasy allows even Sargent to believe he could escape away with her, making it clear that it wasn't the routine he needed an escape from, since he was already retiring, but actually loneliness. The loneliness that ails a lot of people like us that live along this very lifeline in this very world. Although a practical person, he sees himself prioritizing his feelings for the first time in probably a long time, doing things that make other people happy, that in turn make him happy. Hope is a very important theme in this film, and what the loss of it means. In her review of the film, Suparna Sharma of the Asian Age wrote, "The Lunchbox is a gently pulsating, sweet, sad story of loneliness and love, of wilting spirits finding water again. There are 3 women in 3 marriages in this film, of which 2 are ailing. The third one is over, almost. Only the last rites haven't been performed. There are 2 men in this film. One who has lived a full life and is getting ready to quietly slip off the face of the earth. The other is eager to begin. What's both shocking and soothing is what the film shows us, that it takes very little for a soul to come back to life. Mostly just a hint of hope will do. And this perfectly sums my feelings for the film when I rewatched it. Simple things like switching on a fan can bring a lot of hope for a wife who wants her husband to get better. Trusting a junior with a menial job can instill life back into him. Reading a letter addressed to you can change you in ways you never knew you wanted to. All this happens by sincerely communicating. Ela's failed attempts at communicating with her husband leaves her in a mess. So much that chatting with a neighbor she doesn't even see or writing letters to a person she doesn't even know gives her hope.
ये साजन फर्नांडिस का डेस्क है ये।
Loneliness becomes bearable only if we listen and have someone who listens to us, be it our recipes, our love story, or just memories that we want to hold on to.
I think we forget things if we have no one to tell them to.
Communicating makes this world a bearable place. The film ends as Ela decides to leave for Bhutan as soon as her daughter gets back from school. Sajan moves away, only to return back to this world and backtrack the Dabbawala's route to search for Ela. We never get to know if he finds her in time, or if she leaves before he even could, or even if she goes ahead with her fantasy. What we do know is that there is still hope.
कभी कभी
कभी-कभी गलत
गलत
ट्रेन
ट्रेन
भी
भी
सही
सही जगह
जगह
पहुंचा
पहुंचा
देती है।
I make many such videos, and the topics all range from Indian movies to foreign to anime to even pro wrestling. Check out my channel for other videos if you enjoyed watching this one. And if you are craving for passion driven content like Sajan craves for Ela's food, please hit the subscribe button. This is the second act, signing off. Okay, bye.